February 13th, 2025 at the Merriam Visitors Bureau for the Public Art Committee meeting. Let's get the backup recording. Yep. And that's on. Good.
I need to be able to do this without slapping it.
Yeah. Well, I do that too, so you might correct me.
Well,
That's like the,
I do want to see you though.
Okay. Okay, that is the final, that's the organizer.
Yeah, he's doing it right now. Who are you talking to?
But this fascinates me.
I know, I noticed that he's like an international artist.
Yeah, but Michelle said, not that we have to pay attention to it, he said we'll have a Republican.
Oh, okay.
the DOJ will be here.
Yeah.
Did you go through them all?
Yeah, I did too. It took me a long time. I think on the original group, I timed myself, it was 7 hours,
Wow.
which
For all 160?
I thought there were 90.
For 90.
Yeah, for 190, it took
You
me
blocked
7
it out.
hours.
Oh my god. I didn't look at a few of these ones I didn't find today.
Some of these, I had never seen before. This came out, that list came out.
Like there were some mystery ones.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, like this one? Oh my god.
I remember
Oh
one
my
of the
god.
first.
Well, it's, her name is Christina Kwan, and she's not second. I just don't remember seeing her.
I gave her just kind of like a middle score.
When you start looking at the names.
Or Atlanta.
Well, she grew up in Florida.
Yes.
This is bad. This is where they're based.
Okay.
This is where they are now.
This
And then-
person's super local.
Oh, this guy, yeah.
He's a member of the community center.
I mean, does he?
No.
That's Jeremy Collins.
That was Jeremy Collins. It's the
Huh?
Matthew Deckhamer.
Julie.
We're a member of the community center.
Really?
Yeah, he wrote it on his little file.
Well, I think that's, yeah, I was trying to know, but it's hard to figure it out.
Here, I moved my jacket for you.
Right.
Hi, Julie. How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you.
I think it's the, show the other day.
Oh, that was, that's a little nuts. I mean, I liked it. I don't normally like being in the same place as that. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was, I was a bit upset because I gotta unbox everything. And so I didn't want to see it. So when
Hey
I
gang,
brought my
I'm gonna get started here in about
like,
1
I
minute.
want to show you this.
Just
I was
so
like,
everybody
oh, I
knows,
can't
okay?
touch it now.
No.
Can't touch it now, but.
So did you, were you testing it before? Huh?
Yeah, I was handling it. I was unboxing it.
Oh, you were helping them set it up?
Helping
Oh,
with the
cool.
install, yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta really get inside of everything.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go back quite a few times to just like.
Yeah.
On this,
You know.
on the list with the 3 sections, were some of those people not in the group before?
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, I was just curious, because some of, there was couple of them I wasn't sure about. I can't see them.
Alright, we got everybody here, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. We call to order. Roll call, you see who else here?
Everyone, right?
Yeah, everyone is here, mine's online.
Perfect.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Alright, first action item, did everyone get an opportunity to read the meeting minutes of January 16th, 2025?
I made one small edit to those this morning, just to include, that you're using the cafe platform for judging, and that, council members are participating in the judging process to provide input as part of the discussion, but they will not vote on time. So just to add that moment of clarity that we talked about last meeting.
Yep.
Now it is.
Alright, given with the addendum of those changes, were there any other comments or anything that anyone had? Hearing none, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Boom.
I'll let you.
So now let's get into the meat potatoes of this fun endeavor. So, again, time is important to all of us, right? So let's try to stay focused and come to an amicable conclusion of 3 individuals. This is going to be hard. I mean, I may be surprised, but I think it's going to be hard. But I also think it's going to be fun. So, with that being said, Lauren, let's get rolling.
Okay. So first I just want to, I know I sent this out to you guys, which the rubric that we'll use for the finalists, but I just want to put those out there, in the room tonight, so we all have the criteria that we agreed upon previously top of mind when we're thinking about which artists would work best for this project. So those were artistic excellence and innovation of portfolio, demonstrated experience and professional qualifications, connection to placemaking outcomes and community vision, expression of community values, connections, or engagement, creative use of site, they have a complete application and follow the directions, ability to work within the budget and timeline, the durability and feasibility of the project, and their reference to classrooms. So, with that, first keep in mind.
Well, I have a question. I have forgotten what the budget is.
$50,000.
Thank you.
What's the amount of stipend for having them make one trip here?
The stipend for the semifinalists is $1,000, and we didn't require that they do make a trip, but technically.
But that's for everybody, whether you're in St. Louis or
Yep.
Guam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Keith.
We don't have any interaction.
Just a clarification, there's 3 semifinalists after tonight, correct?
That was the plan.
That's the
But I thought I had 5 in my head, I think 50,000, so I just,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
Are you guys also okay with me having very high level minutes for tonight as well, so I can try to do multiple?
Sounds perfect.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so I noticed that like some of the scores adjusted a little bit since I sent them out on Monday, so it's still relatively similar, same top 15 of the all the 60 artists that made it through to this guide. I suppose 5.5. So yeah, that's as high as we got.
She wins. Let's go.
When you sent those out, you had ranked them in order of their score?
That was the order of the score, yeah. So there was a little bit Monday, if people wanted to adjust scores, nothing drastic though. And since it's really hard, I thought it was really hard to remember who they were and compare them to each other online, so I printed them off and put them in order over there. And I thought we might start by, yes.
From your original email on Monday, and then a lot of micro changes people made, were there significant differences in those number outcomes? Were those top 15 based on that, or did that top 15 pretty much remain the same, they just tweaked their numbers?
It's still the same top 15.
Okay, Good to
Just
know.
a couple people moved up and moved down.
okay.
Are the top 5 still the same?
Let me-
Solid question.
Good question. Hold on.
Because we don't even have a top 3. I noticed 3 and 4 are tied, so.
Karen Lynch, Lodgers Collective, Gamers, Alex Maxiall,
Alex may have dropped down.
okay, and Beth Rabbits.
Yeah. Okay, Alex dropped down.
And Jeremy moved up.
Moved up. Okay. And then Christina, like all of you. Yes. Alex dropped down a lot.
Did Christina and Allison move up too?
Yeah. Just a touch.
But this is the order, right, that you put up here?
Yes. The current scores is the order that I put up over there, so. Yeah. So I thought we could maybe start by looking at all of them together. And possibly just eliminating ones that we don't even want to talk about as a potential semifinalist before. talking about-
Feel free to, if you don't want to do that, if you choose.
It is like a murder mystery with the big board, isn't it?
Did you bring your lunch?
I know.
Oh my god.
Oh, where you can.
Everybody close your eyes and saw the murderer.
Well, this is the original.
Oh, I do too.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you do this.
No, but, yeah, well, I was thinking this is the original, but only been, these first 3. But that's not what she does on the street. Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is.
This is from
I mean, I like a lot of the people that are. It's funny because I did not like her work. Originally, I was one more.
I think she was more like.
In terms of first two.
Beginning, so it was like, hey, and I gave her a higher score. And then after seeing her.
Christine?
I'm like,
Hi.
And so this guy's logo.
What do you think? I can't.
Yeah, he lives, he lives in Merriam.
He's really
Yeah.
very,
Yeah. I just want to see how it translates.
Yeah.
I just worry that,
I
you
know.
know, the community center's gonna,
My little
What?
rabbit.
gonna
It's
just
honestly
go over
appreciates
the
it.
top and be like,
What?
covered, we're not careful.
Well, anything they put on that building will be improved.
Yeah.
or the floor.
Not gonna lie, this has been my number one
Yeah.
from even the very first round.
Really?
It was my, yeah, like my top choice from the
Was she
first.
in the 190 group?
Absolutely, and
Because
in
I
the
missed
190
her.
group,
So
I
did I.
wrote her name down as like my favorite.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think
That's
that's
interesting.
interesting to me.
and
Why?
I'm so glad that you all like kind of thought the same.
Yeah, well, she calls out the 2.5.
I know. Stop.
I didn't.
Well, I
Wow.
190 you could miss.
Well,
one.
one is the third day that I was doing these. But,
Were you were starting to glaze over a bit?
oh yeah.
Oh, me too. I felt
I
bad
just-
for the people like in the middle to
I
lower
was
half the
so
alphabet.
tired.
But she was rapid, you know. But I think what happened, I noticed her because I was like, oh, these are alphabetical order, and I moved like a few pages down, so I wouldn't queue them alphabetically, you know?
I love these two.
Yeah, I do too.
I love these two, and I think it's interesting that this is a collective.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two people,
Yeah.
My goodness.
When I was in New York, well, 2
I'm
weeks
in
ago, I
reality
went
with it.
Yes.
to go see
Yeah,
that,
that's what I
because
mean.
that's on the
And I
F
love that
line
too.
in Brooklyn. And the F line was Sunday.
Oh, and I forgot about
They
that.
close
They were working on the line.
Yeah.
I couldn't get there. Yeah.
Those two are some of my favorites.
I mean, that's my neighbor. I like when I
Yeah.
see
I like this woman. I don't know if she can do the exterior stuff, the steps.
If we don't do something this
You
time,
have to
then
kind
we
of
have
think
to do
of
something
it.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think at one time we talked about splitting. it,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
How's that going? People finding them.
They are.
Aw.
Yeah, I think it was a little
Nice.
confusing at first, but like once people caught on.
Yeah, I like her. What I think about her, she's not afraid of negative space and all of her
No,
things.
she's not
Yeah.
afraid of negative space.
Yeah.
But she also said that this would be her biggest project.
So?
Well,
Should
I
do a
don't
good
know, we're
job.
going to experiment with it.
Well, I think that's a
Julia
positive.
kind of felt
Yeah.
like that too, right?
Yeah.
Or no, she'd done some other stuff.
That doesn't, no, that doesn't bother me, Jerry.
I love her flowers too.
I think
Yeah.
she has a nice touch to her
Mhm.
painting,
She does.
I think.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. Is in this collection of how many?
15.
Uh-huh.
Of the top, what is that, 7 right there?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that's in the bottom 8 that someone is passionate about moving up? And I mean like really passionate.
Which bottom, which bottom eight?
That
The
bottom 8 right
bottom,
there.
the bottom eight over there, yeah.
These.
I'm not super passionate. I mean, maybe Derek, but, I mean.
How about
I
the
think we have
bottom
an
eight
opportunity
moving
to
out?
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up. I said up.
Yeah.
So
No,
that
no,
we
I
know
meant-
that, so that we can eliminate those from the future, for the rest of today's conversation. The more we can eliminate from the conversation, I think the more we can refine our
Yeah.
conversation to the ones that we are wanting to
What
talk
I like
about
about-
seriously.
Yeah. What I like about Dirk, I like his idea that he would use like wood, glass, and I thought, well, sounds good to me. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Oops, sorry.
I mean, mine, it's, not really loading, so
Yeah, so we're talking about the bottom 8. These, just removing them from the conversation, which are generally in her original email. So, these are the bottom 8. Here's the upper 7. Here's, and these are in order from their point
Okay.
scoring.
my only one that I would like to be, if we're, oh, I can't think right now, is AJ. That's the only one that.
AJ Davis?
I did know
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this
Move him over.
so that he's a part of this conversation as well, or she, I don't know what it is. Who?
Thanks. And Eric. We're not moving them. It's fine.
Okay.
What about the opposite question?
Yeah, are there any
Yeah.
of these
That
that
you're
we
like, now that you see them there, that you're like, oh, no,
Sure, the
actually.
columns.
I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of
It's not that it,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
it
were-
just doesn't.
I like Jerry calling
It
it
just doesn't like go along with the rest, you know what I mean, like in terms of like.
No, yeah, I kind of tend to agree that moving Jeremy out, I like the work, but I don't see it being appropriate for this, in my opinion,
Yeah.
appropriate for this particular project in space, especially based on his state.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I noticed about him, he didn't show any recent work.
No, I noticed that too.
So it's kind of weird too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
If he didn't have a lot of work on it, his line work's really
I mean-
nice, but I don't think for this project, personally.
The Matthew, are you gonna move him out
No,
too?
no, just this one. Someone only brought up, I think we only brought up this one.
Make a case,
I brought up
Jen.
Matthew.
Make a case.
Somebody brought up
Oh,
Matthew.
yeah,
What
yeah,
is it?
we-
I
yeah.
couldn't hear what you said.
I don't know how his work would necessarily like kind of be
All right, well,
the project.
so
But
let's-
I know he's number 3, so.
here's my opinion, is now that we have these 7, let's just take those out of the equation And let's go back and bring them up on the screen, and we'll have those very specific conversations about these 7. Is everybody cool with that, or?
Yeah.
What I would do if I were alone, would I put her in place of Matthew? I mean, I think her work's really strong and she's interesting. And I think Matthew, to me, it almost looks like the Louvre, the pyramid. And I don't think we can do that.
So, I think the majority of, I'd like to go back to our comments, and maybe we do that.
Okay.
I'm worried.
Because I want to know why people want them and why they don't. Because then we might find some common ground there.
I'm worried if we move Matthew out, and not that he's my favorite or anything, we're narrowing ourselves to just murals, which I don't love that. And I know we all talked about like preferring 2.5 or 3D something. And not that he's the only one, but I don't know. Is there anyone else?
Well,
Is there anyone else
if
that
you
the
know,
group brought it up?
huh?
I feel like the group brought it up last time, the 2.5.
No, there was somebody who had 2.5 in their part of the city.
Beth Rabbis, right?
No,
Maybe
it's
it was Melrose Collective and Beth Rabbis.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, if you wanted to have somebody who was not a mural painter, then I would move Dirk up.
I
And take
agree.
Matthew out. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with
So, my biggest concern there is, do we want to maintenance outdoors unmonitored of glass? That's, because I love his work.
Yeah.
If it's outdoors in places that are not managed and monitored, we're gonna end up with broken glass, not beautiful glass.
From a city council
That's my
perspective, I would agree. I don't think Dirk's work is right for this project. I love that he's here in Merriam, and I think we could find something for him in another project.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I guess
and
I was
love that
thinking
we're
about
working
it more in the interior stairwell, not
Yeah,
considering
that stairwell.
But it's still an outdoor stairwell.
Correct.
I mean,
I've been
you
in there
know
with a
what I
bunch of
mean?
kids
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and it's a pretty narrow stairwell, and I just get worried that from a public works maintenance city,
Yeah, and that stairwell is open to the public
Yeah,
at
it
2
is.
o'clock in the morning. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
so.
I don't think they can
The door's locked.
Okay.
But
the
so,
doors and like
The door's locked.
when
At a certain time.
when
I really like
the
this.
library closes, or when the community center closes, which one's first? Or last?
So, all right, so that being said,
In the budget.
Yeah.
we're still good with no one else needing to move anything from over here, over there, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was hoping it would help.
Yes, yes. I'm making them. I don't think I remember.
Oh, you're not.
Well,
Oh, gee. Does everyone have their little dots of it before I go back to the second?
I have very secular tastes, apparently.
I didn't want to take some.
Christine.
Yeah.
Who's your number one?
Who's my number one?
Let's all talk about it together.
Meaningful conversation.
yeah, you can.
I love the first two,
Hang
and
on,
I
let's
love
wait.
that. I love that you
Hang on,
say-
let's wait, let's wait till our Alright, so I'm curious, from everybody's perspective, why this one ranked as high as it did. My guess is, and I wanna hear your responses to this, is because of the use of light within her, especially the one that was, skylight based, fabric, letting light come through. There's not a lot of, she does seem to work, I think it's a she.
It is a shame.
The scale of her work seems realistic, the price of her work seems realistic. I don't remember off the top of my head her artist statement. Excuse me.
Well, one thing she put in her artist statement was that she wanted to do a work of radical joy.
Oh.
And that connected with you, yeah.
Yeah.
And that statement connects with you, that's awesome.
Yeah, she also said she is interested in doing transitional spaces, particularly staircases. And just, she said something else about like helping, the wayfinding and guiding people through, which I thought was really fun.
Yeah, I'm not particularly like a huge fan of the mural work. I was more interested in the screen printed, like screen kind of things, and then also the textile work. Like I think that would go great with the windows in the stairwell. But she could also do, a mural, whatever. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, not looking at it from my opinion, like a lot of other people would like her murals, I think, because they're brightly colored, but,
Yeah.
If we could go back to her stairwell picture, I think, nobody out of the 190 had that much just great action
Yeah.
in their work. Look at it, just, you know exactly what's going to happen. You're going to go down the stairs. All kinds of things to look at the time. Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
so let me ask you guys, yeah, go ahead.
She has a lot of experience. And, she's based out of New York and Nashville. And she has an MFA from Columbia. And I just think her work's happy. I'd like something happy.
So let me ask this question of everyone. It's pretty easy to come up with reasons we like it. What are possible negatives to this particular artist? What are possible problems? Or does anyone have it?
I think it's very colorful, but I feel like it's also very generic. Flowers and, it's kind of what you might expect from a public art installation. Something that isn't gonna offend anyone, unless you really don't like flowers.
Which arguably is a good thing, but could be a bad thing.
Yeah, and so if this artist moved forward then, based on, because that's a similar concern to me, is, I think it's very important that we articulate to them in the original process then, when they bring their demonstration, that we want to see some amount of personalization based on our master plan, not just generic shapes, which is cool, but we'd like to see a little more personalization. I think that statement fits pretty well with a number of the muralists that we've all liked. I think it's important that we include that clarification to them if they're the ones that go forward, because, I agree with all the positive things we said about this one. It was obviously in my list. But I think, it's important that we try to get a little more personalization out of it.
What do you mean by personalization?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I would like them to tell
It's
me.
very neutral right now. Like there's no.
Like I can fit in.
What's unique to the space or to the place it's being painted? Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where this is if looking at it. There's no indicators of that.
Like when someone draws flowers, they draw flowers like that, And so,
Jerry, I agree with your point though, that it gives a sense of that motion. You feel like you're shooting down the
It's
slide,
not.
right?
No, if you- no.
So in that regard, yes, it loses a little bit of genericism, but in terms of thematically and color, it's pretty generalized.
I was a big fan of blue, so
Yeah.
Jared, what did you say? I couldn't hear you.
I said I was a big fan of blue, so.
I mean, it's a Merriam color.
No, just
My
Merriam.
problem with her would be that she doesn't include her textile work in her proposal to us, that it's just a mural, because I also love both. And in terms of the mural, she references in her, artist statement that she will reference domestic craft forms like quilting, and things like that, and I feel like you definitely really get that from, her murals, you get that, you can see that, like, kind of patterning of quilting and things like that,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that does lend itself to personalization, especially with the flowers and Merriam having flower and Kansas having flower. And you can totally personalize stuff.
Flowers for everyone.
Now,
Yeah.
now I'm gonna ask another question, and basically I'm gonna ask these questions with all of us, but, how do we think this work would interact with the other artwork that's at, that particular campus? Because we're talking about a fairly dense, visual amount of work in this community center area, and we wanna make sure we think about that, right? So, what are people's thoughts on how this would integrate with the other artwork there, or contrast with it, or what are your guys' thoughts in regards to that?
I think it'd work.
Okay.
I mean, it's subjective. I mean,
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I think it'd work. I mean, Blessing Hancock's piece, that's the biggest thing, right?
You've got the sunflowers facing.
Pardon?
The sunflowers. The library.
Oh, the library.
The rest of the
Those are kind of
Yeah.
subtle.
I was just pointing out all
Yeah.
the other pieces,
Yeah.
because I think those are, depending on where the foliage is, I think they're kind of.
Yeah. Those don't pop out the way Blessing Hancock's piece.
No, they're not in the same realm at all.
Yeah. But then there's the thing about the door too. It's blessings.
I don't think there was consideration by the library to have their art work with art that was already there. But luckily, I feel like the library art is subtle and kind of disappears.
Yeah.
So even though I do think that it should be a consideration, it's already destroyed. If that makes sense. The art's not.
Yeah, no, I think the intent of my question is more, are we choosing something that will horribly contrast with it? I think, yes, some eclectic nature to this is a good thing. I don't think there has to be an overall theme, but I think, we have to be careful about bringing in something that would be like, what on earth were people thinking? I think we have a responsibility, right, for that.
You mean where it would look cluttered?
Yeah, precisely.
And
Great
just-
choice of word. Great choice of word. Yeah.
I do notice, I haven't seen anybody standing next to the flowers on the library and looking at them. I see a lot of people looking at Blessing Hancock's piece, especially with the lights,
Sure.
the lights that go on at night.
There's something about the flowers that makes you feel like you can't walk on the grass.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't want to get close.
I've taken pictures of them and I'm like, I feel like I'm not supposed to be here.
Okay, so do we want to now have this conversation with the next one in line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's half of the piece.
Dr. Seuss.
I sent my girl along to this. So.
Oh,
I
yeah.
went through the 15 finalists with her last night. and-
This is a great, that's an interesting point, because that's why I wanted to know from the community center, what are the age, what is the density of different ages that come
Did
to the
we get that?
community?
Did we get that?
Huh?
Did we talk about that last time? We talked about that.
Yes,
Never mind, I remember.
Yeah, we touched on it.
Yeah, it's a
But
very broad range.
I think about it in regards to this, I look at, mean, there's some trends here. She did give us a lot more than what I wanted, but you got a couple of
She's
trends.
got some awesome reports that she did, so.
Yeah.
Did Claire rank them?
No, she didn't, but I went through an order, like, from best to, like, from our ranking, you know, from the top to the bottom, and, just showed them, like, their website, you know, and she was really intrigued by some of them, and some not so much, but she really loved this one, so. It was just kind of funny, to like, go through it with her, and, like, not really knowing anything about it at all, so, but.
Yeah, I don't know, for me, that's a really positive feedback, because, you know, art doesn't always have to be deep, right? Because we connect with things, you know, on an intense level, even when they're not deep, like, you know what I mean by that, philosophically deep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did think this collective group, was fun. And I like that, I mean, why not have a little fun with this?
I feel like it, like, you enter into like almost like a different world. Like,
Yeah.
you walk
It's
into a
very-
portal and you're like in a different world, and I think, you know, it doesn't matter what age group you are or who you are, like, you can't help but be kind of engulfed in it, and it's just, yeah.
Well, and these two people have been together for 17 years,
Wow.
and they're in New Orleans, and, you know, it looks like they're working well together.
Yeah.
And they mentioned, 2.5D element that they were wanting to do, at least the interior stairwell. I like that.
Yeah.
I do, you know, the interior stairwell is sort of contained. I feel like if they did something like this on the exterior one, it could be really interesting. It could also, start taking over the space with like what there's art everywhere.
Yeah, there's risk
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
In their artist statement too, they said that they love to spread joy and foster a sense of belonging, which I thought was really good.
You had a statement you would like to make?
Well, what I really like about this one is was it applied to the environment, it changes the environment, which I think is pretty amazing. It's kind of like a barrage of art. I don't feel like it's overwhelming. I see it more in the interior space, like you said. I also worry though, because the interior space is so small, and it does basically like watching a herd of zebras running. I feel like it kind of
There's risk there.
it breaks down in lines, like important lines, like the lines of stairs and stuff, and so I have a small concern about that, but I really like lines.
I was looking at that and thinking about what you said, Sean, and I was thinking that they're highly patterned work, you know, repetitive work. Would be a nice contrast to everything else that's going on.
Could we look at some of the pictures where they pull the stairs?
Well, just
Yeah.
one of the, I think that if they do something like those little shells or whatever, those little ceramic things that they apply to the wall,
They're gone.
they better be out of reach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, let's see, I know my statement I wrote in this, I love this work, however, I think they would need to find a way to personalize it to Merriam beyond just geometric designs, which I think falls into a lot of those same conversations.
I wondered about that too.
Yeah.
In their artist statement, they talked about their approach being rooted in engagement, research, and listening to local voices.
They did, hence why I kept them as high as I
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
Same,
So I think on their website, this one, it's like some sort of abstract interpretation of a river and whatever's going on locally there. And then the other one, this one's also had specific connections with these little tribes or whatever.
And though I hate diverting a little bit, I'm gonna do it anyway. In terms of this particular artist, I had them in the back of my head also in terms of our bridge. Because, down there, that's a good thing to maybe think about. If we don't choose them for this or something along those lines. These are opportunities also for us in the future without having to go down the rabbit hole of doing this process intensely again, we can choose some and say, hey, we'd like to see you, we didn't choose you for this, but maybe you would like to design something for this, those kinds of things. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole though, because we need to be focused on this. Sorry.
Good point.
Yeah.
Just one more thing. I also noticed that they're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what you're gonna get for 35 or 50.
50,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a much smaller space.
Yeah.
These were monumental
Well,
spaces.
yeah.
But,
So,
I mean, it's a valid, yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
they may get here and, you know what?
Well, that river one was 17.5.
Sorry?
The river one that she just showed at that corner of the parking garage, it was $17,500.
But that looks to me like it might be a temporary structure.
Oh, no, it says it's exteriorly consistent on concrete.
Oh, they did, okay.
Yeah, I know, I had
Yeah.
the same kind of thought, so I was just kind of digging into it, not to,
But they know the budget when they apply.
when they do their, yeah.
They know they know what it is. And they've been running a business for, you can tell they've got a business in it. You look at their website.
Yeah. It was really quickly,
Okay. Any other positive and or concern-based comments on the Milagros group collective?
I thought it was nice. I mean, I think it's playful and I think it would blend, with the work that's on the,
Okay. And the next contestant on The Price is Right. All right, humans.
So this guy has a cut flower farm, and the thing that was interesting to me was like, could something happen with that native grass hillside where people drive in, like that's right at the top of the exterior staircase? That's why he sort of got a high vote from me. I think his stuff is kind of all over the place in terms of like, I have no idea what he might propose to us. But that leaves a lot of options, and he's certainly done public works before, so I'm sure he could successfully complete it. But it leaves a lot to the imagination of like what would come up with.
So you see him as a gamble.
Yes,
I mean, in a
an
way.
interesting gamble.
Yeah,
And intriguing.
yeah, your choice of words for me is I like because I liked his tile work. I liked the tree with the fire pit scenario. I even like this work.
I
but
like
again,
that.
I know a lot of these aren't
I
really.
like that.
It's hard for us to know converting that to what the space areas that we're giving them to work with. He is local. That was another positive for me.
He's local
Very
too.
local.
Where is he?
He's a member of the
City?
community center, like that's
Yeah.
how local he is.
I think he's in Shawnee, maybe.
Really?
I'm not quite
I
sure.
didn't pick that up. I thought he was from Wisconsin.
Well, he might be from their childhood from there, but he's been a member of the community center for like over a year.
He went to Rogers High School.
So he's from here. He was the artist
Along with the
residency
center.
for JCPRD.
Does it say, Stacy, since you have that, does it say anything in his artist statement about what he's thinking for the?
No, I don't think so. I was trying to refresh my
I
memory.
didn't get into specifics.
sells at the farm.
And he sells at the farmer's market, yeah.
How does he sell at the farmer's market?
Flowers from his little
I
farm.
mean,
I mean,
I
he's
think-
very like values based, I think, with bringing awareness to like environmental, sort of like local
Yeah.
environmental themes.
Yeah.
Which I like. I think that's probably why I'm getting to know.
I think I've home for the clearing.
Yeah,
that's
true,
your,
honestly,
I'm sorry, I
yeah.
know that's your like favorite, like that's what you're really like wanna work on next, so,
Yeah.
not to divert, and I'm sorry,
No,
but that's
no, I-
kind of my.
I think most of us would probably agree with that statement. I mean, I
Yeah.
like his work. I think he's worth the risk, whether it's this project or another project. I think there's opportunity there. I did like, even though he didn't specifically call out his intentions with the community center, the fact that he's there on a regular basis, it's hard not to develop ideas.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so it's, yeah. Did you have
Oh,
something?
I had a note, when I scored him, it would be interesting to partner him with a muralist. Cause last time when we chatted
Yeah.
here, we talked about maybe splitting
Yep.
the monies and having a muralist and somebody who was doing something a little bit more.
Yeah, that would be a good split, depending on.
I don't know how, I don't know if that's a rabbit hole that we wanna entertain.
I know, right? And when I thought about it further down the road, I was like, well, maybe that's a little more than we're ready to handle.
Yeah, so
I still like the idea of that, you know, you're right, realistically, is it?
But it's our first project, it'd be nice to move fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
Okay, any other comment, Margaret, did you have comments about him?
I mean, in the beginning, what?
Didn't like the way you said that.
He was one of the first, I think 3D artists that combined light, so I really liked him. I kind of agree now though that it's a little harder to picture what could be done with the spaces we've chosen right now for the future though. I could see something. I don't know, I think that was my overall for that one. But yeah, I like the lighting, like especially that. Like that's so cool. Oh my god.
It is.
But do we wanna have Merriam Community Center glowing everywhere?
Yeah, I think it would totally clash with the other
Nope.
spaces.
Hilarious.
Yes.
I just think something like that would be so cool in the clearing, I don't know.
Yeah, and now that I talk to you, you're right. I totally
It
think
can just
he's a
say
better
very
fit
good
for the clearing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although the clearing is very isolated,
Yeah.
and, I mean, you have to wonder like what happened to.
You would have to be conscious of that, yeah.
That piece looks a little fragile to me.
That-
Well, I'm not saying that.
That's
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that piece looks a little fragile, but I love that piece.
And his work had been out like, where was it, Shawnee Mission Park or something?
It is really great.
Yeah.
But
They were like out where,
If I were gonna invest in his work and it were something like that, I would want it across from the police department.
Right?
I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna invest that much money.
Right, from a maintenance and protection
I'm sure
perspective.
that works.
Or he's designing something that is more manageable in terms of protecting itself.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like robotic and attacking.
Sounds like we agree there would not be one of the three budgets.
I think that's when we come to the conclusion, but to keep him on the back burner for future projects.
Okay.
I think that's accurate.
say it again, that's my number one pick.
That is a cool cat.
That's a really cool guy.
Sure. Do you know her?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
Me too. Does she have an ecstasy?
I don't know.
Okay, so, I'd like you to expand on your passion for that. Why do you really want this one?
I love that it's not a mural, that it's like 2.5 dimensional, but it is mural-like in that it could fit on a wall. She has so much experience. She mentioned she has been in our position in an art committee. She's gotten ordinances from cities. She's done a lot of public works. She understands the whole process and understands maintenance and whatnot. So I'm assuming her works are durable. They're outside. I think it's just so interesting. The fact that it's mosaic. Yeah. And when I was going through the 190, she was like my top pick from the 100.
The reason I asked you to expand is because she was one of my top picks as well. Because of the 2.5 dimensionality, you know, obviously, some of you don't know that I am enamored of anything that's ceramic based, tile based. So, you know, I liked her style beyond just the fact that it's, there's a certain textural quality to using such aggressive tile usage. I like the color choices, I like her palette, use of space, you know, even migrating some of those over around the corner. I think that's thoughtful in terms of all elements of the space provided to someone. I think it falls outside of, you know, I'm not against murals, right? But I lean towards wanting something that brings a little bit of, you know, texture and shadow to, you know, light the stairwell, or even either one of the stairwells, interior or exterior. I mean, I think that offers opportunity. So I too am passionate about this one, being in the top 3. But what are anyone else's thoughts from a positive, and then we'll talk about any challenges we see with this one.
Do we know prices? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't get it to load, that's what I was
I know,
like her
I'm
price,
telling you.
I feel like her pricing is really high.
I think it's
Like
I remember it being pretty
what was it?
reasonable.
I remember it being within the
Yeah.
range.
Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah. Most of the ones where I saw pricing in my last judging, if there was pricing that I liked it, then I started looking at the pricing and they were ridiculous,
Yeah.
I just put them into a one category.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not even worth
Yeah.
conversation.
Seems totally reasonable. I think out of like kind of the top 5 or top 7, this goes in my mind really well with the other works we have there. Like just the flow between one to the next would be really great. Yeah.
Issues that we foresee with this particular one, any challenges that we foresee?
No, I think we should go with her.
Well, we're going back with things stuck on the wall again.
Yeah.
But she did one for an elementary school, so
I would say that there's a big difference between, when you say, when you say stuck to a wall, there's a big difference between using mastic or thin sets to attach things to a substrate like a concrete wall, and when that's a contiguous surface, it is much more difficult to do damage to them when they are, as opposed to individual items stuck with a lot of opportunity for you know, grabbing, pulling, etc. So your point's valid, but I think it's less of a concern to me than other 3-dimensional objects being attached to the walls. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good point, though. Any other?
I think she's really good and move her ahead.
All right.
Is she from Florida?
Yeah.
So she's accessible to us.
One thing is murals or like this, I would think only inside, just because in Florida, you're not gonna have the freeze, you know, salt, thaw, and.
That stairwell is not heated, though, is it?
No. Well,
I don't think
it's slightly
It has a,
heated.
It's maybe
it has a little
slight
mini, like heater
Yeah.
down low, yeah.
But I think inside would probably be more,
Less susceptible.
yeah. But then
Now, that could be a part of the conversation, yeah, that's a great point, because if she's, in Florida, if she's using low fire glazes on a terracotta for these tile, it's not an issue. If she uses that here, yeah, in 3 years, it's gonna blow apart. So, that's absolutely an excellent point to bring to that.
Where has she done projects though? She's done projects all
All
over.
over,
Yeah, so,
You would like to think that she's given that
Yeah.
consideration.
Her website was pretty robust, and she's been in it for decades, it seems.
I think the strength of her work is the size too, so I
Yeah.
think we limit her to the stairwell.
She can
I don't know if we'd be getting on it.
Yeah, I like that comment, because I think it really is kind of the expansive, how she's able to really just kind of take over. Even when she's not, like this one, it's the whole wall, but there's other ones where it's like pieces,
Yeah.
And, she really knows how to use the space, like
Mhm.
that one, I mean, it's not the whole wall, but
But it feels like it is.
Yeah.
I
She knows how to
love-
use the focal points.
I love that one, it's really,
And this one too,
quirky.
I really love that one.
I like the
It's not the whole
quirkiness.
thing, but it's, the lines and everything, it is, yeah.
I think it's- I think it's-
I think she's
I think it's interesting that,
so brilliant funny.
yeah.
I think it's interesting that the majority of the people were like her, but she was only number 4.
Yeah.
From listening to people talk.
Yeah, I think one of the things though, is I just got concerns about like, kind of, what if we would get our money's worth, right? Like, I guess I just kind of got a hard, I kind of got like a little shy with it, because I was just like, is she gonna be able to like,
Mhm.
really Shazam
Go for it,
Yeah, is she
yeah.
really gonna go for it? Is that-
I don't know,
Oh,
those jack
wow, I
ones
love
were only
that.
65,000.
Yeah,
So-
whereas you have the portal with the collective group, right, where you want.
But we, the next step, which is they submit an actual
Right.
proposal, and then we can
Mhm.
see if they scale down
Yeah.
and they're
Let's
not
see.
really taking advantage of the space.
Cause like the really saturated one was 90,000, but there's a lot of texture and a lot of
Yeah.
thicker elements in that one, the nature journey life renewal.
But the 62-foot long one's only 45,000.
Right.
Now, that is 2011 prices.
Where the,
Yeah, see, that's another,
Yeah.
that's another
So
thing
double
about
it,
her,
yes.
there's very little recent work shown.
Yeah.
And take only one thing, I believe.
All right, well, let's look at the next one. We've still got, what, 3 more?
Yeah, all right, yeah, the last one, yeah.
That plays to my comment that to me, it felt really dated. But maybe because it was from you.
I mean, I said no to her in the first round.
Yeah. Jeremy. Oh, no, we took him off. Oh, okay.
AJ Davis. Okay, or
Christina.
Christina Kwan,
We
sorry.
added,
We moved some quarters out.
Okay.
If you want flowers, there's okay, flowers.
Nature is one of the
But
popular
this is
themes of the.
Christina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christina Kwan.
I like how she said, my studio work is largely a meditation on identity and belonging.
This one, the element that I liked on the garage, the parking garage, piece, which was near the very beginning. I know, I can't either, it locked up, I don't know if it's because the master juror is,
I think I'm on Cedar Wi-Fi.
I'm not on my way. We just thought I had a spot and it doesn't work.
everything else is working.
Everything else is working though, when I click in there.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was it.
yeah, go back.
Metal pieces.
I like, again, I come back to, I'm wanting something that, I like this a lot. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of it a lot, let me restate that. I don't necessarily like these particular colors and that kind of thing, but I like the idea of what she's done with that. That's why I find positive about that one. Some of the artwork, some of the line work and shape work, thought it got a little chaotic, but,
I like that. I did
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, mine was
you tend
chaotic.
to, you like those kinds.
Oh, yeah.
I know,
You might as well.
yeah.
I like the fact that she's not afraid of negative space, that she doesn't have to just cover everything.
Yeah.
It's just like, sort of like the same way like we like about rabbits.
Some of the stuff on her website was better than what she submitted, also, just in my opinion. As I was going through her
You had
website.
something you wanted to?
I was just curious, I wasn't exactly sure if those steel appliques for hers, because that's the only piece of her that she shows.
Yeah,
that's added, so I didn't know if
That's
she,
what I thought.
I
That's
think
what
it's
else is
set
right
on
there.
there, the leaf. Oh, no, I don't know.
It kind of,
because they don't seem to be part of the same,
Yeah, it says paint on concrete.
it's the same color though. I mean, it does sort of like,
yeah.
It checks.
I just wasn't
I
sure.
didn't catch that little detail. I just assumed it was part of her program, but.
It'd be weird to have two artists work right on top of each other like that, but I just wasn't sure that she did both.
Yeah.
I think from like, when I'm thinking of other people in the community seeing it, I don't know that it would like resonate with as many people as
Some of
the
the others.
other artists.
Yeah. Yeah, for this one, for me personally, it'd be one of the lower ones on my list, but. I think your statement of not connecting well is an interesting one. Anyone have further comments on this one, positive or negative?
Well, she says she's really reflects her Chinese heritage, and that may deal with part of the order in a piece. It's a different order.
What do you mean? What do you mean a different order? Like methodology or?
Yeah,
Is
I
that-
think so. I mean, I
is
think
that
like that
concern-
piece.
Is that something that concerns you or you like?
No,
Oh.
no, I like it.
Okay.
I like it because it's kind of like it pops out at me. And, I mean, I might even have guessed that it was Chinese. If I had to guess.
I also think she said something about it being like a really intuitive process,
Mhm.
her murals were, and so, again, like, I don't think we necessarily know what we're gonna get.
Yeah, that concerns me.
She
Yeah, I
also
like
said-
that idea of that process, but for us.
She also said this would be a big project.
Yeah. She's gonna do the largest. I don't think that should count.
It's a funny statement to say when you've done something on an entire building
yeah,
size.
that was really huge.
Huh.
That was the thing.
Yeah, so that concerns me. Any other comments on this one?
Well, I always look where people are based. She's based out of Atlanta. And, she grew up in Florida. And she's Chinese American.
I think the work is really beautiful and flowy, so, I mean, I think it would be an interesting, you know, another kind of world. Not
I like
necessarily as dynamic as Kara or the collective, but maybe a little bit more calm.
Yeah, and I think she could probably flow from like the
Mhm.
two stairwells pretty easily, more so than maybe some of the others.
It doesn't look rigid, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Calming.
Yeah.
And I like what she had to say about her perspective of she spends a lot of time in she as a parent she spends a lot of time in recreational thorough
Yes.
spaces and believes those centers should be
Christina,
invested to
Allison
support
Kunoff and
parents.
AJ Davis is the next two.
Yeah, I like that part too.
I did, Christine, I didn't hear what you said.
In her statement, she says, as a parent, I spend a lot of my free time with my family and recreational invested, to support generations to come. And I really just appreciated that detail, in her statement.
Confirmed the interior stairwell does have temperature control.
Thank you.
You thought of that.
That's nice.
Good, okay.
I forget who this is.
Alice
Allison.
too.
It's, tell me again who this is.
Allison, Trudy.
Yeah.
Hey,
She's about to be back in Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't like local.
she's the one that lives in California, but she's also from Minneapolis too. Has been in Lawrence.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's from Minnesota.
From the upper Midwest.
Upper Midwest.
There's all of them, right?
Yeah.
So, I think for me, I connected with the linear elements and breakdowns because it made it feel like it was a three-dimensional wire attached to something. I liked the way that it deceived your eye as to what it really was. I enjoyed that a lot. I liked the sort of the crystalline nature even of the, you know, those things. I don't know, for me personally, it connected well. I see opportunity for it within the spaces provided. I don't know what this comments were. What about you guys?
I really adored this, portion in her artist, statement that she, I also envision a wish workshop to invite the community, inviting residents to write a personal and collective wishes on the walls before painting them. This process would imbue the space with the hope and possibility of creating a sense of ownership and belonging, which that intention and that thoughtfulness just like, I don't know, that idea of being able to have the community write stuff on the walls before painting over it and then know that like we know it's underneath
It's
it.
like a beam signing, like, sorry, but it's like a beam signing, have you guys ever,
Yeah.
like, to, you know, like.
I couldn't see it. What did you say?
A beam, like the final beam that they
Oh.
placed into the building. and-
Yeah, but it's also like Blessing Hancock did that.
And she used it in her work, this would.
Yeah,
cover-
in her work.
This would
But,
be.
but in a way,
It wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah.
it relates to the same thing,
Yeah.
that she asked all the community and she sat in a booth. And the community, I put stuff in, and then she put the words in the.
Yeah.
Did you have thoughts on this particular artist?
Not strong ones. I mean, I think the work's cool. I think it can work, but it's one of those things where, like, if we pick this artist, okay, great. If we don't, that's fine too. Like,
You're on the fence on that one, yeah.
I'm on the fence. Yeah, I do like the geometric style it takes on. I've seen stuff like that in the past, and it's intriguing, but I don't know. It's not. I'm not dying to have this on our wall, like, kind of thing.
Okay.
I feel kind of the same way about, there's something jarring about it. And I would kind of like something tranquil,
Good choice.
but colorful,
Mhm.
if we could do that.
Okay.
She talked about in her statement, like the prison.
Nobody had researched Merriam as much as she had.
Yeah.
She had read everything.
She had read the Public Art Master Plan,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
type back to it.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the good research, it's the project
Yeah.
management me.
She did her research and she had a plan.
Yeah.
That's what I remember about her.
Yeah.
But that was the best thing about her, actually, I thought.
Okay, any other comments on this one? Then we go to AJ. This is the next one. They got pulled in, AJ Davis.
Oh, that's not bad.
Mhm, I think he was just one of them.
is the augmented reality one. I
Yes.
just adore that so much. But I also like the murals too, so. Or their murals, I don't know.
Yeah, from a mural perspective, I really enjoyed the murals. Strong contender. Yeah, I like their color. I like bold colors, so. I love that piece. Maybe not for us, but I love that piece.
I like this, well, that, I would never want to look at that. I think your scale is just way too much for our space.
I can see that.
Yeah, like in the stairwell.
Yeah.
It seems like you need to
Yeah, I'd like to have that bird look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I wondered how the AR would work in a tight space. I'm not super familiar with that sort of thing, but I just thought it needed more space. Who knows?
He does, it is, man, it does look smaller still stuff on his website, but it's all still very saturated in your face.
Some of the animals are scary.
And they could scare a child. for
Well, they
sure.
could scare me, going into the parking lot and.
Oh no. Well, good thing we're done.
Yeah, that's the last one, right?
Oh, you have Davis. You have Davis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I just put some link into it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I did.
Yeah, it's still wrong.
I just Googled it.
I literally can't see up there. So what do I need to type?
It should be DAVIS. It's DAIVS art. Yeah, I think so. I just Googled him and his website comes up. Yeah, that makes sense. So he's not what he says.
There's a little bit of the factory that is work.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Where is he based out of?
Denver.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. I think we've made comments on all seven.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's go back to the list and let's eliminate.
Okay.
Maybe we do that over here.
Yeah, right.
Margaret, I'm bringing you along.
These would be my choice to move out. Where are you?
Allison.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sounded like this one wasn't really.
We didn't get a lot of comments.
Yeah.
Jan was the most passionate about that.
I loved her too, but again.
Allison, I think, was an out.
yeah. Out? Out.
Yeah.
I almost think.
That was pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think
Tell Allison.
AJ was an out.
I think we have three.
Oh, look, we have three.
And now we have three.
Oh, that was
Easy.
Good.
Wait, does everyone feel comfortable with that though?
I do.
I do.
Yeah. I think we'll get a nice mix.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. And all of it is usually very good.
There was a little skepticism.
Does she wanna look at the
Oh,
ones
yeah.
you got? We did that a little fast.
I could rip them off the wall again.
Was there any?
I think
Okay.
I think these three are
my
good.
favorite's definitely the Beth.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, there's a woman in each one of these. Good for us. It's about time.
Let's say it's a woman.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a woman in each one of these, and I know Blessing is. But that was kind of a hard sell back then. It was.
All right.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The three are so diverse, I feel like.
I was just gonna take a picture of this.
Yeah, we're good.
Now you can see it.
Yeah, that's how you're in, right?
Yeah.
Lauren. I gotta get one of these guys to take it
I
home.
mean, that wasn't necessarily like high on my list, but like I said, really because I was a little unsure. If she was to be like one of those things, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You know, and
So,
We need to mark it, maybe. These are the ones we located. And they're the final ones are all.
I don't think a ranking matters at this point, but.
it won't until
We
we do
should have-
their meet and greet and we go over their proposals. Then it'll, right now, in my mind, they're all equal.
right.
Now that they're there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to have an official name for the record?
Yes.
Those are the three finalists.
So all, who would like to have these three be our finalists, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There being no no's, it was a unanimous decision for the three artists, Beth Rabbits, the Milagros Collective, and,
Carolyn.
that.
So I do have a question. What happens if we were to reach out to them and say, hey, you three were the finalists, and one of them says, oh, I already took on another project, I'm no longer available, or they remove themselves from the running?
That is a good
Yeah.
question.
We had that happen last time with something early on.
So should we pick like a
fourth.
runner-up or
Stand-in.
something?
Yes, please.
Well,
Because otherwise we're slowed down by a whole month.
We could pull, you have to.
True, yes.
I think it would be fair to consider everybody who's,
Yeah.
once again.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then we won't
Like,
go
meet back,
forward.
come back and discuss if
Yeah.
that happens.
We could have.
They're like, no, never mind, I'm too
Yeah.
busy.
Or we could do,
And
you
then
could email
blacklist
us
her.
and we could vote.
Uh,
You could email us and we could vote.
we have
No.
to
You
do
can't-
in-person meetings.
As
You
in
said
like,
pizza.
you can't do it like
Nope.
that. No, we could write them.
No.
No.
You have that meeting.
It's the open meeting.
Yeah, public meeting. Okay.
Um,
Well, hopefully that will happen.
So, on the next steps, so there were a few comments that we made in terms of items we wanted them specifically to think about when they put together those proposals. I think the main comments in terms of the muralists were making sure, especially the Milagros group, that there was a certain amount of personalization to Merriam. Like, I think we need to tell all of them, please look at the master plan and take the master plan into consideration when you develop your proposal. Not doing so will not work out well for you.
I think I can see that.
I tend to be a little bit feisty, so.
And then they each get $1,000 stipend, and they can choose to travel here
For
to
their
a site
proposal.
visit, to create their work.
Correct.
Or
Or
they
they
can
can do it
just-
via a Zoom or.
I'll probably make like a video
Video.
to share with all, because I think, where are they all? Merriam is in New York, Milagros is New Orleans, and
Beth is in Florida.
Beth is in Florida, so.
great moment. Any other comments or thoughts we want to make sure are included in letting them know before they create their proposals or wording? You know what I'm trying to say.
Maybe like their intention of like using one and or both spaces, like what is their intention for that?
So, the proposals are usually pretty specific, so are we asking them that they would have some sort of rendering of both the stairs, like rendering of both areas?
I would assume so,
Yeah.
yeah.
But are you saying they could pick one and just use one?
No, okay.
You're not, Jordan?
I don't know. I know that a lot of the like people wrote that just about one of the spaces, not mentioning the other, and so I would want them to be clear if they're not even considering both.
I think
That
we
was
need to reiterate that I want both. I mean, I don't know, do you guys want both, or I don't know, am I wrong in that?
In my mind, it based on the price that we all came to in our original discussion, that price was based on our desire to see both spaces integrated in some way.
I think we need to reiterate that.
Yes, and yeah, I think
So I think
making sure they know it.
maybe it was confusing, because a lot of people did, right, like, I would use the interior staircase, right? I would use the
Yeah.
I think it said and or on the,
Okay.
so it was open to either, to just one.
Bonus
We
points.
made it very bright.
Well, then this is our opportunity to
Yes,
say, hey, we would prefer that you look at using
Preference.
both spaces in a contiguous,
That could be extremely
some
limiting
amount
for
of
the,
continuity.
I can't imagine that working with that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no,
But-
that's a good point.
But realistically, like, there could be a small thing on that angle, the underside of the stairs that everyone thought would be a great space. I mean, that could tie it into the bigger mural outside, so I wouldn't limit them, I'd let them limit themselves.
That's a good point. No, that's a great point.
Well, I think under the stairs, and Lauren, that was your idea, that's brilliant. I mean, to do that kind of space, I mean, it's a real challenge.
Will the video that you're doing include like, I guess like kind of pointing out to them like, this is an area you could use, this is an area you could take advantage, this is an area, like, kind of making sure that they know that like, nothing's untouchable for them, sort of like.
Yeah. I mean, I might not like literally say it, but I will show
Are you
the
gonna
whole
do a
space.
walkthrough?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And are they gonna get architectural renderings of the spaces?
I included the drawings in the packet for the RFP, so they should have that.
The like sheets from architectural side, so they have like static with dimensions.
Yep.
That was
So organized.
Thank you for us.
I know.
I just wanna confirm really quick that they all provided references as well as first.
Kara.
And then.
I'm impatient, I would like them to show us now. Are you available, can we call you?
What will be the deadline for us? Has that been stipulated already what the deadline is that you're selecting?
I was going to give them until April 1st to put together their proposal and like email me something, and then we'll meet and have them present to us at the April 10th meeting.
Oh, that's good.
I think that was
That's
our
enough
first
time.
one.
Yeah, but I wanted to see something before their presentation, so
Oh, yeah.
if you all agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's,
Red
yeah.
flags.
art weeks for nobody.
Hmm?
It said art weeks for nobody. She got kicked out of the site because it was inaccurate.
You have your screen extended.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing other things over here.
And it made me really nauseous to have it the way you have it up there.
Yeah. It's not my favorite to do it that way. Okay, she has a lot on her resume. Very good.
She has a separate reference document, so I think that
Yeah.
Sandy, Drake, John, and Gina.
Oh, six, and Gina for the references. Okay.
Yep, okay. All
Yes,
I know.
you don't know who those are. I mean, they're at the barbecue.
I checked them all now, submitted their stuff, so their applications.
Is valid.
It's valid.
Okay.
Great.
I couldn't get this to open up again in the agenda. I think that was the last item, or did you have some follow-up on the?
I have a few other questions for you all, about the remaining part of the process. So we are gonna give them $1,000 stipend. Do you want me to give that all to them up front, or just like a portion right now and then a portion upon, their
Keep it up front.
holding?
Show faith.
Okay,
Yeah.
will do.
Is everybody in agreement with that? Did you have a comment?
After this.
Okay. Did everybody agree that we would give them the full amount up front
Yes.
before proposal? Okay.
Okay. Did you want to invite any community input for the proposals that they turn in by April 1st in any way?
How?
Put them up.
Yeah, just on display at the community center or on the website or.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that would be really
Why
awesome.
not?
After the meeting. After the meeting.
Actually. Okay. When we meet in March, if we meet in March, I think we meet in March. Should I just do Q&A with them?
I think it would be nice, because you know, we put out an RFQ. Sorry, I just jumped in. I'm sorry. I'm just used to responding to RFQs and being able to ask questions, and so it would be nice if they wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think they
I
probably.
think it offers the opportunity for a better product. The more
Oh, yeah.
communication we have, the better.
Perfect.
We could also get their vibe.
What is the date on March meeting?
March 13th.
Yes.
Super quick question, when you're presenting them with the space, is there, because there is electric, like light, like art that's already on, in the space that has light, is that something that you're going to like mention or?
I don't think there is on the inside of the stairwell.
But it's on top, so like if you're like looking at the space, like at night, that's definitely a component. I think the light is definitely a component of the campus,
Okay.
or on the campus, I don't know. I would want to know.
I'll definitely point out that there's art, where the art is
Oh,
on
yeah.
the exterior.
Could you do like a video recordings in the daytime and the evening?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
That'd
think
be a good
it's
idea.
about, like,
Why not?
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's really dramatic at night.
Again, the more info we can get them, the better.
I'll do the story time.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
From morning till
Right. Here.
time lapse.
Okay. Those are my questions. Anything else?
Was it part of the RFQ, ask them whether they were insured and bonded?
It was stated that they must meet all of our requirements for like all of our vendors that we do. So it wasn't like super specific about it, but I will include that in.
List of information that they had to comply with, yeah.
Yeah. I'll make sure that that's.
Now, it's pretty easy to respond and say, yeah, I got that. Producing proof of it's another animal,
But
right?
they'll probably have scissor lifts or something to do a mural or whatever. So, so that'd be something good to know.
They have to submit a certain amount of documentation to me, even if pay them $1,000 stipend, so, but the rest of it will be later for the finalists, so. Okay. Anything else?
City
Into
updates?
this? Okay. City updates, the next issue of highlights, the cover story is Public Art, our master plan, and featuring the new AutoCast tour, and just kind of informing the residents on what we've been up to over the past year or so. So there'll be, not exactly sure how many pages, but several pages all about public art in the next issue, so that's exciting. And, oh, the Hearts Across Merriam, we have the next batch here, we get in, and then a student at Chapman Park. If anybody would like to volunteer to do that, I have a few other
Where's
spaces.
Chapman Park?
It's the one that's just over on the other side of I-35.
Oh, gotcha.
Near the bridge, underpass.
On that turnoff to like get to downtown area.
Oh, yeah.
It's for sport.
It's worth it.
I volunteer.
All right.
Can we see one?
Yeah.
Do we volunteer to do them all, or are we volunteering to do 3 or 4?
I can do dance, if anybody wants to do some, I can have to do these.
There was one.
Oh, no, she means like if you want to hang out your Christmas tree or something. You probably should do something in the back. I thought it was
We
just
will
a
tell
whole.
them during the meeting. Is like happening in the art or around the area.
I think he said he was gonna put a hole in it.
We're asking, hey guys, just for future reference, since we're gonna be doing this every single month, we will ask whoever hides them to kind of take note of where they're hidden and let us know.
Maybe take a picture?
And take a few pictures and at least a few that are like kind of
A wide
inconspicuous
shot and a
clues.
close shot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, context is everything, so show a wide area, and then your next shot is down to where it is, and just someone who's never been there, know exactly where it was supposed to be.
Yep, and you can email or text those to me, that's fine. And bring Karen's little supply bag back, because she provided some ribbon and tape and scissors and other things that you might need if you get real creative with how you hide them.
How many are being hidden?
I think there's 6 in this batch.
Is there a hole in the actual art?
No.
To where, I mean, I
Just
think
little
that,
baggies.
that was what he was talking about, Jerry.
He changed it though.
He changed his mind?
I think he
Because
changed
he
it.
ended up blowing them instead of forming them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of like the
So
mold.
he put it.
Yeah, I thought there was, there'd be a hole in them, where, you know.
The plan adapted, didn't involve those, he actually.
Are they all the same? The exact, I mean, it's,
They're all completely different.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're
They're all
generally
red this one, but,
conceptually the same.
yes, they're
Oh, from
different.
month to month, or they, do they differ?
Different shapes. We asked him to do different colors every month, but it just has, it just so happened the first 2 months are.
They look like they're edible.
I know.
They're not. Please don't eat them.
Nice.
It's like Jello.
Yeah, it does, they look like big gummy bear, or gummy, gummy bear.
Okay.
No, but they were like,
Well,
not gummy bears, but
hey
they were
guys.
like.
We'll send it out to the community, we'll like post on Facebook or whatever, around like the first of the month, so we have a place for the first of the month. Each time, and that's when we tell people to go look for them. So that was our plan.
Julie?
I'm so excited that we got them to really like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
really easily.
I'm really excited to see all of their proposals.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And I think they're gonna be
Last
fine.
item, and there's nothing new from the floor.
Yes, Meg?
Adjourn second.
Sorry.
Margaret, you had nothing, correct? All right, we're
Yeah,
adjourned.
is Margaret happy with the choices, the three? Are you happy?
Potential on all of them, so yeah.
Okay. Good.
Alright.
I will help you with that.
Oh, yeah.
I just gotta figure out where the architect.
Well, I think it's good when,
See you later.
I'll go up by the, behind the car dealerships. What is that? That's Carter? Okay, Carter. There's a little.
And there's like other classes, there's like, I feel like in there, like picnic tables, there's like a bridge that, yeah, playground, and there's like a lot of green space there. Not the same one, I don't know to make it, but I got it, you know, like, that my first time. And so I've always like,
You know where the point is, it can fall either way.
I didn't know that.
No, I mean, I had trouble just finding. Well, there's no sign.
No, it's called, I mean, I've read it for 14 years, so, for 14 years, so like, yeah, it's what butterfly bushes, yeah, it's very He was your live? Oh, shoot! And I was like, I was
That's fine, that's what I do.
No, I just said I know. Somebody would take a mercy on your phone.
It's done that a lot with the big thing. At least here.
Yeah.
I'll just put it in my
And they're chumps that keep doing it, you know?
Get you enough. You have a good night, my friend.
That it was just intuitive, there was no way. And her name
But
was.
yes, I was telling Farrah, I was like, we'll go see some artist studios, I promise.
Yeah.
Oh,
She was very like, I was looking at her, you're getting dinner.
Stretch.